Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Movie Nights Roundtable Live. It is me, Dalton Burdett, and I am not alone. I am, of course, with the amazing Nicholas Iricchio. Nick, how are you, my friend?
What's up? I'm great. It's an Oscars week.
It is an Oscars week, indeed. Lots of fun stuff to do on today's show. We also have a ton of news stories, a whole lot more news stories than I thought we'd have, and, which is still exciting regardless. So, of course, though, the first thing we got to do is we got to start breaking down these nominees, because we did our predictions, we did our reactions, which, by the way, thank you to everyone who watched the Oscars reaction. That was super, super awesome to see all of you guys joining us. And now, of course, we got to break down these nominees, and then we'll get into some fun news stories like I mentioned. Ryan Gosling's in Star Wars. Awesome shit. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, of course, we got to get to these nominees. Look at this great banner that Nicholas made. It's lovely. Some call it
reformatted.
It's reformatted to adjust for us being there. Isn't that just the best? Some would say it's simplistic. I would say it's beautiful, personally. But here we are. And, of course, we're going to get things rolling here with these Oscar nominations. Actor in a supporting role. We had Yura Borisov, Kieran Culkin, Edward Norton, Guy Pearce, and Jeremy Strong for Anora, Real Pain, Complete Unknown, The Brutalist, and The Apprentice. Nicholas, this was one in which I was 5 for 5.
I was off. I didn't put Jeremy Strong on it. I should have known the Succession brothers would be making it onto the nominations, though. I really do think, honestly, that this is Kieran Culkin's to lose. Like, he seems like the front runner, in my opinion. Guy Pearce hasn't really been mounting much of a campaign, even though he may be the stronger supporting performance. So it'll be an interesting race. It all comes down to all those like press and talk show appearances that are going to be coming up.
Oh yeah, the campaigning is going to be insane for this. But can I tell you something? I have a gut feeling that Kieran's going to upset lose. I agree with you that he's the front runner. It's absolutely his award to lose. But every year with the Academy Awards, there's a lock that just loses, and Kieran has been the only one going on all of these awards shows that's been winning. All these other awards have gone to several different people, and he's just been locking them in. And I feel like that's the one where it like falls off.
Well, the interesting thing about him too is like I feel like he almost might not campaign.
Yeah, because why would he?
Like, what have all his speeches been? This is fucking cool. Thanks. Bye. And then he just leaves. Like,
that was actually a pretty solid impression.
I don't know what we expect from him, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
No, absolutely. But yeah, those are the nominations, guys.
Not upset by any of those.
Oh no, these were all fantastic performances. I saw a certain section of people on Twitter talking about how Hugh Jackman should have gotten one, and I'm like, guys, he was great in the movie. He was not better than these 5. Come on. Let's
himself and Logan.
Yeah. Let's. That's true. That's very true. Let's get rational here.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
Moving on here, we now have costume design, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. This is the only award Gladiator 2 is nominated for. So that's fun. A lot of them, I think
should have been for Denzel.
I told you it wasn't going to happen. Going from Best Picture and like 12 nominations, I think, for the first one to just one, I guess you could call that a decline, I guess.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. Moving on, makeup and hairstyling, A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Look, I think it's safe to say that Emilia Perez overperformed at these awards, buddy. And
just a little bit.
I also think that this is one where I would have liked to have seen the Academy branch out outside of the regulars and give it to, like, Beetlejuice, or something more fun. And maybe I'm just a bit butthurt because on Gold Derby, this I was 4 for 5, and because I didn't put Emilia Perez. But, I think every other movie's deserving, though.
I feel like with makeup and hairstyling, typically that is where you see like that in costume, where you're just going to see a random one occasionally just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I guess, okay, I'll check that out. In terms of winning this, the Substance makeup was pretty spectacular, if you ask me.
I mean,
but it could be an Emilia Perez sweep, or it could be Emilia Perez walks home with nothing. We don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a 3-horse race between Substance, Different Man, and Wicked. I could see Wicked walking away with it as well, but if it's me voting, I give it to the Substance. I thought the makeup there was just absolutely exceptional work. Moving on to original score, we have The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Now, this is one that we obviously went into great detail on in our reaction video, considering the fact that fucking Challengers was not nominated.
That's accurate.
I still can't believe it. I thought Challengers, no shit, I thought Challengers was a shoehorn to win this award, let alone a nomination.
Well,
and
what confuses me about this category is the inclusion of Wicked.
Same.
Because if Dune Part 2 gets disqualified for reusing a bit of score from the first, why does Wicked squeak through with reusing the Broadway score?
Listen, I feel the exact same way. And it's one of those things where maybe if I looked at the compositions for Wicked, there's enough original stuff there to where I'm like, wow, I eat my words, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
no, it's possible. It just seems off to me. I don't know.
It does. And it's mostly because like I talk to people who are big fans of the Wicked musical. And I'm like, hey, think about the score in the movie. How much of it was original and not remixed? And they were like, I honestly couldn't tell you. And I'm like, okay, interesting, fair. The Brutalist score is awesome. Bum, 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 bum. But
that is a good score.
Conclave, also really good score. So, you know, I'm mostly happy with these. You know, just Emilia Perez, too, and Wicked. Like, if you're going to be a musical, unless your score is so distinct from your music, I'll do the example of, like, La La Land, which I thought had both a distinctive songs and a very distinctive score. That's one thing, but I feel like the music in Emilia Perez and Wicked were all kind of the same vibe. I mean, Emilia Perez, all those songs are different, and some of them are just bad. But, you know, I feel like the score within itself didn't stand out that much to me personally, but, you know, it is what it is. Wild Robot, I'm happy to see. I thought that was a good score as well.
Yeah.
Live action short film. I don't know any of these, but out of respect, we're going to name them
Yes.
Alien or Aline. Anuja, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. Great job, guys. Animated short film, same thing. Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wander, I like that, and Yuck. Great job, everyone.
And no love for the Bad Guys animated short.
Well, I think that comes out this year, doesn't it?
No, I think there was another one. I think they had like a holiday special.
Well, how about that? Anyways, adapted screenplay. This one is interesting. So, the nominees were A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Very happy to see Sing Sing on here. You know, we had some debates as to what else could show up. Very shocked by Dune's absence, and that's going to be a recurring theme on this episode. Shocked by Dune's absence. I gotta say, even more so, more shocked by Wicked's absence. Really shocked by Wicked's absence. You know, A Complete Unknown, to me, overperformed. Clearly, there's a lot of love for this film, and I don't think the film's a bad film at all. But to me, screenplay is not where I would have personally gone with it. But, you know, I also wouldn't have gone for Emilia Perez as well. But I was happy to see Conclave and Sing Sing and Nickel Boys pop up. You know, I thought those were relatively worthy nominations.
I'm curious if that's where they'll sort of sneak in their wins over some of the other bigger contenders. Like, is that, you know, I think everyone was really on board with Conclave, but I don't see it. The nominations of all the technical awards are deserved, but I'm wondering if, like, it'll squeak in, like, oh, screenplay, here you go. Like,
yeah.
Enjoy.
There are so many, like, I skipped it, but there are so many, like, other factors going into it, like Conclave not getting director, will that hurt its chances? Real Pain not getting picture, will that hurt Kieran or Jesse? Like, you know, there's different things. Speaking of Jesse, original screenplay, Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance. So happy to see The Substance on here. That's amazing. I haven't seen September 5 yet. I was surprised this was its only, I think it was its only nomination. Maybe it had another one. But, you know, not a huge turnout for September 5. A Real Pain, we figured that would get nominated. Good for Jesse. The Brutalist, amazing screenplay. Honora, amazing screenplay. You know, what were your thoughts on this category?
I still haven't seen Honora, so I'm not familiar. I was really just sort of banking for Real Pain to have the nomination. I was really rooting for that one. And what else was on there? It was
You had The Brutalist, Real Pain,
Brutalist.
September 5, and The Substance.
The Substance I thought was I've been seeing sort of the clip online too of like all the big text in the screenplay and everything. So I wonder if like also doing something stylistically different with their screenplay is going to help further their chances in that category. Especially because it actually overperformed in my opinion. It's well deserved, but just was not expecting the Academy to be cool.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And listen,
regard.
If it's a good read, might as well.
Read. But I personally, I'd like to see Jesse take it. Just I really enjoyed that movie, but that's a very tight category this year.
Yeah, and if you ask me right now, I think it's between Real Pain and Anora. I think Adapted is between Conclave and Sing Sing. I think it's going to be a battle for those. Actress in a supporting role. This was another one where I got 4 for 5. I was close. Monica Barbaro, Ariana Grande, Felicity Jones, Elisabetta Rossellini, and Zoe Saldana. First things first that we got to address right away. Nicholas, your hubris in thinking Ariana Grande was not going to get nominated. Come on, man.
I know.
Come on. By the way, spoiler for later. Yeah. Nick and I tied in our predictions, meaning if his hubris did not get in the way, he would have won.
Ali Crow, listen, I would have went, if I put her, I would have went 5 for 5 in that category.
Yeah.
I really thought that Jamie Lee Curtis was going to come into that category as this dark horse and honestly take it. Not that I don't think any of these performances are better. I think just it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, fair.
And we all saw what happened with Everything Everywhere All at Once, so it kind of would have shocked me there. But listen, congratulations to Ariana Grande. Listen, I do think it's a great performance. I think that's sort of getting lost here. I had my own hesitancy about calling it Oscar worthy, which I was clearly wrong about. I mean, but also I also would have said the same thing about anything with Emilia Perez. And spoiler alert, it's one of the most nominated movies ever.
Yep.
So
yep, tied for second most. Listen, I feel the same way. But like one thing I will say about this category, of the 5 people listed, there are only 2. Well, no, there are 3 actual supporting performances, and those are Monica Barbaro, Felicity Jones, and Elisabetta Rossellini. Ariana Grande and Zoe Saldana are lead performances. Okay, it's a bit of category fraud, and we didn't talk about the category fraud in supporting actor as well. Kieran is a fucking co-lead. I'm misremembering the other ones, even though we just did them. But like, so many co-leads. But it is what it is. You got to get that bread somehow.
I just, like, how do you? Because for that logic, I mean, you're spending the most time with them. I think it's going to garner a lot more opportunity for performance.
Right.
And I think there's something we say with Elisabetta Rossellini having maybe 10 to 15 minutes of screen time in Conclave.
Yeah.
And getting the nomination, and it's the same thing with like Anthony Hopkins winning Best Lead Actor for Hannibal Lecter. That is literally
was that definition. Lead actor or was that supporting actor?
I think it was lead.
Wow. Because I know he has like
check myself, but I'm pretty sure it was a lead performance.
I know he has like 8 minutes of screen time, but also in recent memory, the Fablemans, the person who played little Sammy Fableman's uncle. He just had like that one scene and he got the nomination. So, it's not unheard of for the Academy. But as you look,
but I feel like there's something to be said with the impact of the screen time being used.
Yeah, and that's fair. As you look that up,
I'm checking my Anthony Hopkins stuff right now.
As you do that, I'm going to read off Best Original Song. El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 6888 because of Diane Warren. Like a Bird from Sing Sing, very happy to see that. Mi Camino from Emilia Perez and Never Too Late from the Elton John film. I think El Mal will win this, and honestly, it's a banger song. I like that song, so I'd be fine with that, personally.
1992 Oscar winner, Best Actor in a Leading Role.
Wow.
So
that's
the Academy
wild.
Doesn't know what the fuck supporting means, if you ask me. Hannibal Lecter's this is a weird tirade that I'm getting on right now, but like
no, please, I'm giving you a single. Go for it, buddy.
Hannibal Lecter's literally a supporting performance. He's supporting Jodie Foster's performance. He is in 10 minutes of the movie. It's insanity. It's a great performance, and maybe there's something to be said that they called it a lead, but like, my God, that's category fraud if I've ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
All right, I'm done.
Listen, it was a good tirade. I appreciated that you did that. Next up is documentary feature film, Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, soundtrack to a Kubita, and I said that so wrong, I'm so sorry to anyone who speaks that language, and Sugarcane. This was the first appearance of nominees to be determined. By the way, anyone wondering, like, how could they nominate something but not know who the nominees are? That is mostly because for feature films, the nominee goes to the producer. And when you make films, especially if you finance them and it takes a long time to make, there are some people who will give you money and say, oh, just give me a producer credit, and then, oh, this, oh, that, and then, it's kind of like a whatever thing. And then when it comes time for Oscar nominations, they're like, hey, so I'm getting nominated, right? Because I'm a producer. It's like, no, you fucking aren't. And it actually could go to, like, legal litigation sometimes. And I think with the LA fires, and, they did extend, like, the voting period, but I think that there might not have been enough time to clear all of that out before they could determine the actual producers nominated. But the films themselves can still be nominated because they're nominating the film, not technically the producer. So whenever you see that, it's just because probably due to the LA fires, the nominees haven't been determined yet through the litigation process that they go through. Just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who wondered. But, yes.
The Academy is already selling merch that says nomination to be determined.
I'm not going to lie, I want one, but I didn't check the price. I bet it's way too expensive.
I would have liked it as a hat.
True. Documentary short film. Again, don't know these, but we're going to read them for you. Death by Numbers, I Am Ready, Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Good job, guys. International feature film. This is where some fun shit happens. I'm Still Here in Brazil, which we'll see shows up a whole lot more. The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Flow. Great job for Flow, getting additional nominations here.
It's pretty big for an animated movie, I feel like, as well.
Yeah. No,
it's a great hurdle to see.
Oh, yeah, no, it was very cool to see. Let's move on here. Animated feature film. We have Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Was Found, The Wild Robot. This was the easiest category to predict, I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, yeah. We love a sure thing. It gives us some good reassurance here. Next up, we have production design, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, the first time Dune shows up, which is nuts, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Pretty solid stuff there, nothing to complain about.
Very solid.
Film editing, we have Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. All right, I may go on a tirade, Nicholas.
3 musicals, cut to a single.
Yeah, so here we go on this one. How the fuck are Challengers in Dune not nominated for this award? And what makes it more hurtful is how the Oscar nominees work, the nominations, is each branch of the Academy votes for the nominees, meaning the editors picked these films. And I'm just like, guys, you should know better. You should know better than Emilia Perez and Wicked. I love Wicked. I thought Emilia Perez was fine. Better edited films than Challengers and Dune. Even Nosferatu was better edited. There are other films that were edited way better. I would even give it to Sing Sing over these two. Yeah, I'm upset about that. I'm sorry. We'll go back. It's okay.
You become the tennis ball.
You become the tennis ball. How did it? How did it not happen?
Honestly, yeah, I think Challengers is very well edited. I do agree with that. We have 3 musical movies, and it seems like when it comes to editing, they love the musicals.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they do.
I will say, Anora, Conclave, Brutalist, excellent job on editing. Very well deserved.
I'll come 100%. Out and I'll say Better Man, the Robbie Williams monkey movie, for those of you who may not be familiar with who Robbie Williams is probably better edited than Emilia Perez.
Hey, there you go.
Call me crazy.
For Best Noise, we have A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. No shocker that they picked all the music movies there. Thank God they picked Dune. I love the sound in that movie. And honestly, good for Wild Robot. Good for an animated film getting Best Sound, because they should get nominated more often, because the sound with animation is so important. And Wild Robot did an amazing job.
I feel the same about score. I'm genuinely shocked, because we looked it up. I think only 2 had won Academy Awards. I'm surprised there's not a lot more nominations as well on top of that.
Yeah, no, completely fair. Moving on, visual effects. Alien Romulus, very cool to see that get in. Better Man, which you just mentioned. Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. Big day for monkeys.
Big
day.
Here. Big day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Could this be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes' year? That they have been
that
nominated.
They finally win.
And they've been nominated and then screwed over, but I
could
don't
see
know. Dune was solid.
I could see Wicked taking this.
That would be unfortunate.
Well, here's the thing. The visual effects are great. Like, do I think they're better than some of these nominees? No. But I also think that you have to look at the storytelling, and the story that they're telling and how the VFX are used within that story is very well done. Alien Romulus is not going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I think Dune Part 2 has the best VFX of this list. But, just thinking about what could win. Going to Alien Romulus, I've seen some people already talking about, like, that horrible de-aged Ash, or not, the character's name isn't Ash, but, that actor from the first Alien movie, like, they're going to give that best visual effects. Like, guys, did it look kind of shitty? Yeah. Did you see the rest of the fucking VFX in that movie? It was gorgeous.
Did you see that little fucking freak at the end?
Yeah. And did you see the rings on the planet, and when the ship is touching it, like how beautiful it looked? Like, it was great VFX. Like, people need to calm down about that.
Ian Holm, it's Rook.
Yes. Thank you.
Rook is the character. And apparently they have, I think there was a report saying they touched up the VFX. The director said it wasn't ready, and the studio said, release it. So I released it, and then we touched up the effects later, which is something I disagree with.
Yeah, I don't like it
when it's ready, but movies are never ready, right? They're just released.
They're just released.
At least they took the time to develop it farther for the at-home release. I think it's positive.
Cinematography: The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, Nosferatu. Good call with you on Maria there, buddy.
I knew it was going to sneak in for somewhere. I thought it was going to be that, Angelina Jolie's performance, or maybe even directing.
I thought it could even get in for production design, personally.
I doubled down on cinematography. I'm glad I did.
And, like, this is a small thing, but the cinematographer for Brutalist, his name is Lol. And whenever I read this, I just think the Brutalist, LOL. I don't know why that makes me laugh. But, but yeah, Greg Fraser, I mean, the work on Dune's crazy. Honestly, Nosferatu could win this, and I'd be fine with it.
I think that Greg Fraser is really going to be a situation where, oh my God, why am I blanking on the huge cinematographer's name right now?
Roger Deakins.
He's going to be just the new Roger Deakins. It's like, yes, he shot a movie this year. Oscar. Oh, Diane Warren released a song.
Oscar nomination, yeah.
I think it's really any well deserved. I mean, he's a fantastic cinematographer.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think, is he coming back for Batman 2? I know that was sort of...
He's coming back for Batman 2, but not for Dune 3.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Either way, it'll be all right. I think Dune 3 got the La La Land cinematographer, though, so they're in good hands.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. Live chat, if I'm wrong about that, just correct me. By the way, instead of Emilia Perez here, I would have put Conclave. I was very surprised the cinematography wasn't nominated. Actor in a leading role. Another 5 for 5 for this guy. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Ray Fiennes for Conclave. And Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Solid fucking lineup, dude. Honestly, this is pretty solid. I think that it's a 3-horse race between Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, and Ray Fiennes.
I think it's really going to come down to how bad did the AI story with The Brutalist and the Hungarian accent, how much is that going to actually affect his campaign? And Timmy's out there doing the work, and I haven't really seen Ray Fiennes make an appearance.
No,
so
but
I think that's a big thing too.
But Ray Fiennes, I think, has been nominated 6 or 7 times and has never won.
It's a good story.
That could be a career Oscar. You also have Timothée. I think the Academy is used to making people wait sometimes. They made Leo wait for it, Yeah. But he is putting in the work in the campaign. You are absolutely right about that. And with
Right.
Adrian Brody, in my personal opinion, I think Adrian Brody gives the best performance on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Will the AI thing hurt him? I don't think so, because it's already died down, and 2, with that story, you had a lot of people come out who work on post-production in Hollywood say, hey, this is a fucking regular thing that we do. Like, whoever did this is clearly trying to bring this down. Like,
well, I think they said like Emilia Perez also had the same sort of technology, and it's been used several times in the past. And
like it's not a new thing, is what people were saying.
And from the director's own mouth, it was only used in the Hungarian actually speaking parts, not the English accent.
Yeah, and basically it was done to, like, your last name's Iricchio, and let's say in the movie someone said Iricchio, and then it would kind of be like, that's kind of disrespectful to the Italians. Let's get this in there to make them say Iricchio. And also the director also revealed that they actually hired other actors to try to do it, and it just wasn't working. So it's not like it was the first thing they did, you know?
It is. But in fairness, too, Iricchio is probably an American bastardization. So just saying that probably is offensive to the Italian.
Probably.
We had someone in the live chat say, I'm seeing Timmy winning Best Actor, setting the new record. It's a good narrative, and it's time, to be honest. I don't disagree. It's great to see young blood, especially getting these nominations at this level.
That's entirely possible. I believe it's sincerely underscore.
Sincerely Ujo.
All right. I'm sorry, I can't read. But listen, that is not impossible. That's not out of the realm of possibility. And, you know, he has put in the work for a younger person. Ironically, the youngest right now is Adrian Brody. That's who he'd be beating. But I would also not be shocked, though, if they made him wait, you know? Because, like, how long did they make Leo wait? Like, everyone thought Wolf of Wall Street was it. And he still didn't even get it for that one. You know, he had to get it for the next one.
He's already gotten, this is his second nomination, and he's still young. So clearly there's a trend. Hopefully he doesn't fall off of it. But
yeah.
No, I think it's a great narrative. I do agree.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, and he could totally win. Like, he's absolutely in the running to win. Yeah. I don't think it's a lock per se.
No, but he's easily top 3 of that 5. Like,
100%.
He's not a no name in that race.
100%. Now, this category, actress in a leading role, this is what I want to talk about. Dude, well, let me read them. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here, something that I called and was very happy about. I think I went 5 for 5 on this one as well. Nick, this race is wide fucking open. I literally think
it's a tough one.
I think any of these 5 could win this award. Mm-hmm. Any of them. Like, and each one makes sense. Each one is a great story, right? Cynthia Erivo, if she wins, it's kind of and this is, I heard on the hot mic I was watching with John Roca and Jeff Snyder, and Jeff Snyder brought up the good point of, like, this is a fuck you performance from Cynthia Erivo, of being like, not only have I been nominated already, but I'm a black woman in a lead of a Hollywood blockbuster film, and I can get Oscar nominated. Boom, like, kind of throw it out there. That's a great narrative. Carla Sofia Gascon would be the first trans actor to ever win. She's already the first one to be nominated. Good story. Mikey Madison comes out of nowhere with this Honora performance on a scale that she hadn't been at before, and just absolutely knocks it out of the park. Coming out of nowhere. Amazing story. Demi Moore, never been nominated for an Oscar before. She's in her 60s. She was like a cinema darling back then, and she comes back with this wild fucking movie, The Substance. She wins. It's a great story. And then you have Fernanda Torres, who literally, again, this movie is at the top of my list. By the way, Nick, it opens in our city 2 weeks from now, and I will be seeing it in theaters.
Yeah, let me know.
Yes, we will go. She apparently gives the performance of a lifetime. And do you want to hear this? You want to talk about good stories, Nick? She's the second Brazilian actress to ever be nominated for an Oscar. Guess who the first one was?
Who?
Her mom.
Whoa.
Come on, dude. That's a story, dude. That's a great story.
That is a great story.
It's a great story.
Well, wasn't there something too with, like, Isabella Ross, or Isabella Rossellini just has famous parents, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It being her mom is crazy.
Yeah.
And did she won? The mom won?
No, just nominated.
Just nomination. Okay, so still just...
So she could complete the story, like Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, dude. Come on. Yeah, I'm pulling out wrestling references. That's where we're at.
So I was trying to look it up because I was curious. I didn't realize that with, like, when we were talking about youngest actor, because I was like, oh, Mikey Madison is young, and I looked it up. She's actually younger than Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, but the youngest actress to ever win was like 9 years old or something.
She was 10. Tatum O'Neal.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Adrian Brody, like if they had combined like actor and actress into just
Gotcha.
performance youngest. So she does not have that, but if she wins and Timmy wins, they would be two of the youngest nominees.
By the way, I think Anna Paquin won when she was like 14.
I think so. I just looked up oldest, so it just came up with Tatum O'Neal.
Oh, Sincerely also said in the live chat, Fernanda single-handedly pulled I'm Still Here into Best Picture. There's an argument to be made for that, because it's very possible that when they extended the voting deadline, that a lot of people caught up on that performance, and then were like, wow, this movie's great. Like, can't believe this was on my radar. And it'd be a great story if she won. Really would be. Moving on.
Is her mom still alive? Because I think that speech and
that I'm not sure.
Oscar would be crazy. That
I'm not sure about. Directing, we have Honora, Sean Baker, The Brutalist, Brady Corbet, A Complete Unknown, James Mangold, Emilia Perez, Jacques Oyudard, and The Substance for Coralie Forget. Now listen, a couple things to point out here. One, by the way, sorry that I haven't been cutting to us and singles, guys. I'm in the shit too deep on this beautiful slideshow that Nicholas made. I think most of these are well-deserved. James Mangold, I didn't think was, but then guess what I found out? This is his first time being nominated as a director, which I did not know. He didn't get it for Ford v Ferrari. He didn't get it for Logan. He didn't get it for Girl Interrupted. He didn't get it for anything he's made, and he's a very prolific filmmaker. So I'm less angry about that, knowing that.
Yeah, but Denny snub for Dune and Dune 2.
And dude, no Edward Berger either for Conclave, which is nuts.
There's 5. You got cut somewhere. But
I think that single-handedly
was a shocking oversight to me.
Yeah, me too. Like Denis Villeneuve, it's ridiculous that he's not nominated in this category. And it could have been a situation of everyone voting was like, well, everyone's voting for him, so let me kind of throw some other love, and then it just didn't happen. We've seen that happen with other directors before, like Ben Affleck with Argo. Let's see. Coralie Forget for The Substance. Dude, I'm fucking stoked about that. That was an excellent directorial job. Sincerely back in the live chat. I did see Josh Brolin say that. He's being facetious. He's obviously not going to quit acting. But it does make a point of like how ridiculous the snub was, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure.
But I mean, is every actor going to say that about their director?
Again,
I'm on the side of he should have been nominated. But like,
100%.
How many times have you heard like, oh man, this is the best movie? Like he's the best director. It's sort of like a insider type thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Best Picture: Honora, The Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. I'm Still Here being the big shock. Mm-hmm. That was crazy. Dude, I was 9 for 10. Thought it was going to be Sing Sing. Thought Sing Sing was going to get in there. Which I am sad.
That could have been a result of I'm Still Here with the voting deadline.
It could have been. Could have been 100%. 100%.
I'm sure it's well deserved, though. I am excited to check it out.
Oh, yeah, no, same. I can't wait to see it. But, I mean, this is a relatively solid list. If it was my personal list, it would obviously look very different. But,
it's solid. Honestly, like, as I was reflecting back on the year, I was like, it wasn't, like, a strong year for movies, personally. But, like, this is still, like, a solid list. Notable exceptions, such as Emilia Perez. But, like, The Brutalist, I keep raving about. That was my favorite movie last year. It was a great time. Dune Part 2 is probably one of my favorite theater experiences. Conclave, just solid work. Conclave is just all around a solid movie, and I'm excited to catch up on the ones I haven't seen yet. And it's great to see horror getting nominated on this level, as the Academy always is notoriously pretty shy from checking in on it. So, and 2 international films?
Yeah.
I think as well, which is also great to see that they're able to branch into those different categories as well. I know typically we usually get one sort of international film nominated, but it's great to see the Academy expanding their horizons in that regard.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. And what's interesting is that there are 2 films from the Best International Film list that made it in. And, I've seen some debate. I'm going to cut to R wide. I've seen some debate about, like, could one win one and the other win the other? And to me, that's a bit counterintuitive. Like, if you say a film is the best international feature and then it doesn't win to another film that was nominated in the same category, that just doesn't make logical sense to me. And with it being a preferential ballot system for Best Picture, I don't think that could even really happen as a possibility anyway. Because movies that I think really benefit from the preferential ballot are movies like Wicked and Dune, especially Wicked, because Emilia Perez is a very divisive movie, right? So it's going to have a lot of people putting it as number 1, but it's going to have a lot of people putting it as number 10. So when that happens, if everyone puts Wicked as number 2, Wicked wins. Mm-hmm. So that could happen. Emilia Perez does have the most nominations. Some people think that means it's going to sweep automatically. I don't. I think Something to Remember, and it could win everything. But Something to Remember is, La La Land got 14 nominations, didn't win Best Picture. Well, it did for 90 seconds, but And another important thing about Emilia Perez to think about is it's Netflix. The people who had Mank, Roma, Power of the Dog, a ton of movies that didn't fucking win Best Picture. And I know they want it real bad, but I don't think this is going to be the one to do it. One sincerely said, do you think I'm Still Here in Best Pictures to make people shut up when it eventually loses to Emilia? I don't think it's that for any particular reason, because, getting the films nominated is not an easy thing. I think people just caught up to it because of the Fernando Torres performance and really loved it and got it in there, personally. But Nick, any final thoughts or anything else you want to say about the Academy Awards here?
I mean, congrats to all the nominees. I'm excited to catch up on the ones that I haven't seen yet. Gives me something to do, which I'm always excited about. It's going to be an interesting year because I really do feel like, in past years, it's really been like last year especially, right? Everything was Oppenheimer from a technical standpoint. And so I'm curious to see if something will take that this year, or if we're actually going to start seeing a spread across, like you're going to see Conclave taking one, Dune taking another, just to sort of divide it amongst themselves, which I think is going to be the challenge ultimately when we do, our little game of voting.
Yeah. You never know if it's going to be a spread the love year or a sweep year. It's very hard to determine.
Exactly. I think with Challenger or Oppenheimer last year, I think we're looking at a spread year.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. I do think for Real Pain, I think it's either winning Best Supporting or Screenplay. I don't think it's winning both. So it's going to be, if it's going to determine that. But speaking of that, I have pulled up here Matt Neglia, who runs Next Best Picture. He tallied all the Oscar nominations. Emilia Perez led with 13, Brutalist and Wicked with 10, Complete Unknown with 8, Conclave with 8, Anora with 6, Doom with 5, Substance 4, Nosferatu 4, I'm Still Here 3, Sing Sing 3, Wild Robot 3, Apprentice Flow, Nickel Boys, and Real Pain all 2. And as I spoiled earlier, we tied 46 out of 60 on the predictions that we did. Your own hubris was your downfall, Nicholas.
So we guessed about half of them, right? I think there's 120 nominations. We guessed 60 and a 46 tie, unfortunately.
Dude, on Gold Derby, on the whole Academy Awards, I was 73% accurate.
Oh wow.
C's get degrees, baby.
Do you typically lose them in the documentary short animated stuff where you're like, I haven't seen this yet. Yeah.
And director fucked me this year, but yeah. Ooh. Director and editing fucked me this year. But yeah, Sincerely says crying while listening to the score of Challengers with 0 noms. Dude, I jogged to it just to pour one out for the boys. Just to
feel something.
Just to feel something, yep. But guys, that is the Oscar breakdown portion of the video. But guys, we have so much more for you. We have a ton of news stories to get to. And we're going to dive into that right now. Nicholas, our first story comes to us from the Jeff Snyder newsletter, the N Snyder. And it is that David Leitch is going to be directing Ocean's 14. David Leitch had previously directed films such as Bullet Train, Deadpool 2, and The Fall Guy. Also the director of Atomic Blonde and one of the co-directors of the first John Wick film. George Clooney and Brad Pitt are expected to reprise their roles, and Ryan Gosling and the Margot Robbie Ocean's movie is separately still in the works. The only reason I'm not going to open the link is because it's behind a paywall, and I'm not sure how that works legally with putting it on the screen. But, Nicholas, I know you're a huge fan of this franchise. Do you think, as a fan, that David Leitch is the right person for the job?
If you ask me, I think Steven Soderbergh is.
Oh, well, fair. That's fair.
But I really enjoy Bullet Train, Deadpool 2. I enjoy all of his previous work. I wouldn't. I think Soderbergh is very stylized as a director, and I don't know if I necessarily have that from David Leitch. Not that he's a good or bad director. I enjoy all of his movies. I think my thing is I'm just more excited about the Ocean's franchise coming back. I'm curious to see because canonically one of them is dead. If
Mm,
you buy Ocean's 8, the all-female Ocean's movie as canon. So I'm
okay.
curious if they're going to be retconning that, or if it was a con the whole time, or what they sort of work around on that. But I would love to see it. I'd be interested if they bring any of that cast as well. And
Hmm.
I hope they bring back a lot more of the original cast. I'd love to see Don Cheadle running around there again. I love some Don Cheadle. But I mean, I think it's great, and I'm interested to see what the Margot Robbie Ryan Gosling one looks like as well.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
something different, a more period piece. But I mean, I think I love the franchise, so I'm not going to shy away from getting more of it. Is where I'm
Who
at.
who do you think is going to be the 14th member of the group if you had to guess?
Oh, mm,
I put you on the spot. Sorry.
you put me on
Sorry.
the spot. Ah, gosh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of. Well, hopefully, I mean, if you look at David Leitch's past, right?
Hmm.
You had Sandra Bullock in Ocean's 8, so maybe they throw her in there.
Maybe. Maybe.
Ryan Gosling's working on his thing. I don't see Josh Brolin being in it.
Has Charlize Theron been in any of these?
I don't think she has. I'm
I'm,
trying
I'm
to think because he seems like a director. Oh, you know who it'll be?
who?
It's going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, maybe.
He
Maybe.
was in Bullet Train and he was in Fall Guy.
You know what? There you go. That's doubling up. That's
Yeah,
doubling up right there. Right
triple up
there.
right there. I could see it.
Well, guys, what do you think of David Leitch directing the new Oceans film? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next story. And Nicholas, I got an interesting next story for you.
Hit me with it.
Robert Eggers has the new film Nosferatu out right now. He also directed films such as The Witch, or The Vitch, The Northman, and The Lighthouse. Well, he's got another film coming out, a film that's right up that alley of The Vitch and Nosferatu with Werwulf. I love this motherfucker and how he spells. We know it's set in the 13th century England with dialogue true to the time period. I love how they made that a staple of like, yeah, bitch, they're gonna talk weird. Like they had to do that in the story.
Like, just so you know,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
pull up.
going for a screenplay now. I'm here.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up Hollywood Reporter here.
Yeah.
After tackling vampires with Nosferatu, filmmaker Robert Eggers is taking on another horror creature genre in his own inimitable style. Has co-written Werwulf, a horror project that he will direct as his directly next follow-up feature, and it will be released in North America on Christmas Day 2026. So I'll kind of give my thoughts on this first really quick. Um, I'm seated. I'm simply seated. I do think that Nosferatu, while a good film, it wasn't as great as I hoped it would be, but it was still like a 4-star movie. I love The Northman. I love Robert Eggers. And if he's going to keep making great work at the rate that he does with the, great technical talent that he brings with it, I'm simply there, as I said. And, I'm excited about this. Hopefully this can bring some weird shit back to werewolves. I'm in, dude. How about you? How you feeling about this?
I mean, yeah, listen, I loved The Northman. I thought that was great. I have not seen The Lighthouse, which is a crime if you know anything about me.
Crime.
I love me some lighthouses. Um, but I was late to the game this year with Nosferatu, but when I finally saw it, man, I fucking loved that movie. And so now you're going to tell me he wants to do a werewolf? Yes, let's get a new dark universe going. He saw
Oh,
this
God.
year's Wolfman and said, wow, that was dog shit. I'm going to do better. And now he's going for it. I'd love to see him just have this like high level of cinema because these are classic monsters. They're foundational to cinema, and I think that they deserve this sort of respect that he's giving them. And just also a report that came out also with that is that he's also going to direct a Labyrinth reboot.
Yes, and that was actually
I
first
think
reported by the Jeff Snyder newsletter as well, which we just referenced a while
so.
ago, and then I believe Deadline or Variety confirmed it.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got his work lined up. He's got no shortage. He's very in demand, and I'm excited to see him sort of going with this. I don't. What are we gonna get? His Frankenstein after this? What are we gonna get? We got a few Frankenstein movies actually coming out in the next few years, so maybe he'll back
Yeah.
away from that. But Nosferatu 2.
2, Electric Boogaloo. But guys, what do you think about Robert Eggers directing a new werewolf film, or Labyrinth, if you want to give your thoughts and comments on that? Let us know in the comments below as we move on to our next story. And Nicholas, I am fucking fascinated by this next story. I am very, very, very happy about it, personally. And I know it might have some backlash, but I think it's safe to say that Star Wars is in a bit of a lack of movie period, considering we haven't had one since 2019. And it seems to every time they announce a new film, either somebody quits or it gets canceled. This just tends to happen a lot. But we have good Star Wars news, Nicholas. We have good Star Wars news. First up, Shawn Levy, who previously directed last year's Deadpool and Wolverine. We knew that he had a Star Wars movie coming, but so did everyone under the sun. But looks like his is actually going to start shooting this year. And it will likely be the next film out after the Mandalorian and Grogu film. And he is in talks to lock down Ryan Gosling. This is fucking cool shit, at least to me. I think this is excellent. I know Shawn Levy kind of gets some shit from people for quite literally no reason. I think his films have great heart to them, and I think they're a lot of fun. Even in an R-rated film like Deadpool and Wolverine, he kind of found the heart within that project. And, movies like Real Steel, he also did the Night at the Museum films, which were really fun, really lovely. Free Guy as well. And also, important to point out, he's directed some of the best episodes of Stranger Things. So he knows how to bring that Amblin feel to stuff. And I think Star Wars is peak Amblin, even though that was Spielberg. It's not Lucasfilm, whatever. You know what I mean. I'm going to pull a little bit from Hollywood Reporter here, who broke the story. Shocker, it says. Call them Herman Schultz, Nicholas. Ryan Gosling in talks to star in Shawn Levy's movie. The 3-time Oscar nominees in negotiations to top-line the Star Wars project, directed by Shawn Levy. Details on the Star Wars project are harder to acquire than plans for the orbital planet killer. Ha 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 ha. Levy has been developing the feature since 2022 with Jonathan Troper, who collaborated with Levy on things such as This Is Where I Leave You and The Atom Project. The article goes on to say, and it's something that we pointed out in here as well, that it is not going to be connected to the Skywalker saga. It's going to be its own thing, which I also think is an excellent idea. I don't need shit to always be connected to the Skywalker saga personally. Not that I, don't like that, but I think this is actually a really interesting move. I think that what they'll be able to do is really great together. And, we know Ryan Gosling has said that he's not going to be doing any dark characters anytime soon. So that tells me that this script has a lot of heart and that it must be good because Ryan Gosling is also notoriously picky. I'm in, dude. I am all in. I'm all in on this. Give me Ryan Gosling as either a Han Solo type, a Jedi type, a fucking Wookiee. I don't care. With this Shawn Levy movie. And I also think this speaks to Shawn Levy as a kind of a producer as well, in that all these movies kind of get stalled, and in the meantime, he's like, let's get Ryan Gosling. That'll get the movie to start shooting soon if he's interested. Boom! There it is. What are your thoughts, buddy?
I mean, listen, I really enjoy Shawn Levy as a filmmaker, from Stranger Things to, although I'll even go all the way back to Real Steel. Try me. I'll even go to The Internship. Fuck it.
Boom.
Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson. That's a great movie. I think, like you said, I think he brings a lot of heart to his projects. Like him as a director or not, I think he has a great grasp on the humor of the projects that he wants. I think he has a great understanding of the heart and the emotion of the characters. I think he fully understands. Just looking at Deadpool and Wolverine, I think he understands the characters of Wolverine and Deadpool, and I think he could bring that to his Star Wars movie. And Ryan Gosling's a great talent to have that. Ryan Gosling, he did his La La Land. He said, "Now I'm going to get my bag." He had the Fall Guy. He's just looking to have fun there. And honestly, I'll take a Shawn Levy Star Wars movie over a Taika Waititi one. I'll be honest with you at this point in both of their careers if I'm comparing them.
I like the word comparison. I'm not going to hold that against you.
Comparison works.
Yeah. But we also have sort of breaking Star Wars news, Nicholas, that broke not long before we started going live today. I'm going to see if I can get it pulled up here. I believe it's also from the Hollywood Reporter.
Well, you're pulling that up. There's a rabbit character in Star Wars called Jackson T. Tumperaki. And I've just wanted to know who's going to be the one to bring him in. And I think it's a gamble between Shawn Levy and Taika there. So if it's Taika, it's voiced by Taika. So listen, let's get something different.
I just can't wait for Glup Shido. Anyway, I found the story. We also knew that there was a new Rey movie with Daisy Ridley coming back. Movement on that has happened as well, as they officially have a new writer, George Nolfi, who's kind of a classic industry writer in Hollywood. He's going to be writing the Daisy Ridley Rey film that was going to be still be directed by Charmin Aboid-Chenoy. Sorry if I said that incorrectly. I'm going to pull from the story a bit here. George Nolfi, known for his screenplay work on movies such as The Bourne Ultimatum and Ocean's 12, has been tapped to write New Jedi Order. I guess that's the working title for the Daisy Ridley-centric Star Wars movie. The new story is said to take place 15 years after the events seen in The Rise of Skywalker, with Ridley's character now a mentor to a new crop of Jedis. If they keep going at the rate they're going, the movie also won't come out for another 15 years since 2019, so that's actually perfect. But listen, I love that character. Did they butcher her in Rise of Skywalker? Yes, I think so.
Did they butcher everything in Rise of Skywalker? Also, yes.
You said it. But I love Daisy Ridley as a performer as well. I just saw her in a movie last year called Sometimes I Think About Dying, and she was brilliant in it. It was a great, underrated performance. And I love her as the character, and seeing her come back is going to be really interesting to see where this franchise moves forward, because that's what I've kind of wanted to see from Star Wars, is it move forward. I like exploring all the time periods they're in, especially the Andor period, but like, let's go. Let's go this way and see what we can do. So I'm very interested. You know, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I liked the character. I'm with you on that. You know, I don't know if it's sort of one of those things like, do we want to keep treading in the Skywalker saga, or do we want to see them branch out and go back to maybe they feel this sense of they want to give Rey another chance because of how things ended. I think it's great that Daisy Ridley wants to be involved again. I feel like as an actor, if I went through a project that had as many troubles and as many criticisms, I would be very hesitant to return to it.
Fair.
That being said, they probably gave her a fat ass check.
Mm-hmm.
So, get your bag, girl. But I think
100%.
Ultimately, I'm interested. I don't know if excited is the right word, but they've piqued my interest. Adding the writer doesn't really sway me either way on it, but I'll go see it.
Listen, if Star Wars can keep up the good stuff, like, I think the best things they have right now are Andor and Skeleton Crew. Mandalorian's also very good, minus the third season, but, like, I've been a big fan.
The Skeleton Crew kids.
I've been a big fan of Andor and Skeleton Crew, and the fact that you can have a very dark adult story and a very fun family story in the same universe is kind of the appeal of what you can do with Star Wars. And so having the Ryan Gosling, Shawn Levy movie we just mentioned, and having this movie, I think it could be more examples of what you can do in that universe if you actually go for it. I think the Mandoverse is kind of losing steam, personally, in my opinion, just because it's just remitigating and redoing stories basically from Clone Wars. And it's like, how about we just do anything else? Let's do anything else. And I think they're finally getting there. But what do you guys think about the updates on the Ryan Gosling, Shawn Levy Star Wars movie and the new Rey film as well? Let us know in the comments as we move on to a story that, buddy, I'm excited for this story. I'm excited to talk about this story with you. One of my all-time favorite filmmakers is Sam Raimi. Anyone who watches this channel knows that. I speak about it all the time to an annoying degree. And he recently directed Doctor Strange 2, which is underrated, and he directed the hell out of it, and it's a miracle the movie happened the way it did because of COVID, and you guys are too mean to it. But he is directing a new horror film Sam Raimi is returning to horror, Nicholas. And he is returning with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien in the movie Send Help. He's producing the film as well. It is a survival horror thriller about two colleagues stranded on a deserted island. The only survivors of a plane crash, they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive, but ultimately it's a battle of wills and wits to make it out alive. And it talked about Dylan O'Brien's casting here in the Deadline article. But Nick, here's what I want to talk to you about. How many dolly zooms can we get in a plane crash? I think we could get an awful lot. I think an awful lot. Dude, whoever that focus puller is, God bless you. You're going to be sweating on that set, buddy.
Godspeed.
Dude, I'm stoked about this. I've said it already. I love Sam Raimi, but seeing him come back to horror is really exciting. And if you watched a lot of the interviews when he was doing Doctor Strange 2 in like the press tours, because he took a really long break from directing after Oz the Great and Powerful. And people were asking him, like, fair. People were asking him, like, what were you doing in that time? Like, what kind of made you want to come back and all that stuff? And he basically just said, I produced a lot of films, and I got to watch young, new filmmakers come in and do their thing. And their approach to filmmaking rejuvenated, like, my love for it. And I got to learn from people younger than me. And it was a very weird and fun experience that when this opportunity came for Doctor Strange 2, I had to say yes. And so the fact that he's jumped from that with that mindset into this, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what he's got up his sleeve. He's going to cook. Personally, Nicholas, your thoughts on Dylan O'Brien joining Send Help from Sam Raimi?
I mean, listen, it sounds like a great premise. Misery on an island, basically. We've said it on the show countless times. It's never a bad thing to add talent. And if you're talking talent, I can't think of two better people than Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien to be joining this movie. I feel like we don't see Dylan O'Brien enough. So
sure.
I'm excited to see him in this. I'm excited for Sam Raimi to return to horror. I think it's just an all-around win. I think it's shaping up to be a very interesting project, and I'm very excited.
Oh, as am I, good sir. And guys, we have one last news story for you today before we leave, and this one literally broke moments before we went live.
Ooh, breaking news.
This is awesome. And Nick, I got to say, your skills in putting together this PowerPoint slide in such little time, you should be very proud of yourself, buddy.
Oh, thank you.
So, the DCU under James Gunn is under full way. It's soft open with Creature Commandos. We have Superman coming out next year, the first big feature film. And we know one of the first big TV shows, the first big TV show they're doing is Lanterns for HBO, the Green Lantern series. And guys, they have cast their Sinestro. Sinestro is here, and he will be played by Ulrich Thompson. Previous roles on Counterpart and The Blacklist, other shows he was on. And as you know, or if you don't know the synopsis of the Lantern series, it follows Jon Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre from Rebel Ridge, and Lantern legend Hal Jordan, played by Kyle Chandler. We love Kyle Chandler. It's basically going to do a version of it that's like a cop mystery drama, but with Green Lanterns. Hell yeah, they're going to be investigating murders. And here is some of the Deadline story that just broke that news a second ago. You did such a good job on that PowerPoint. I don't know how much I have to read of this. It kind of just goes into who Sinestro is, in case you didn't know. Was previously played by Mark Strong in the unfortunate Green Lantern movie. But, guys, this is big news. This is a huge villain for the DCU. I would be very surprised if this is the only project we see Sinestro in. I wouldn't even be surprised if he's not a villain yet. I know that in this universe, it's existed for a while, and Hal Jordan's been a Lantern for a long time, so maybe he is already a villain. But either way, his backstory is going to be interesting. That story is going to be very cool to dive into. And, I think this is great. I'm unfamiliar with the actor's work, but, I'm hoping he's as good as I hope he can be. And I think that the more I hear about the series, the more excited I get. I didn't even know they were going to put Sinestro in this thing. I don't know why. Obviously they are. But, that wasn't even on my radar. So, Nicholas, what are your thoughts on this, man?
No, yeah, listen, I'm excited at the concept of it. I'm hoping that the series is not doing that sort of thing where it's like, oh, who's the killer? Who's the killer? And then we get to Sinestro, and you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It took 8 episodes, and now we're getting Sinestro, So I kind of hope maybe they do something on its head where maybe he's a main player in the show. Maybe it's a different role. Maybe they kind of go bringing it back to like a Hannibal Lecter type thing. Maybe Sinestro's jailed up somewhere and they go to him for insight. Maybe they play into that. I don't know. But I mean, it's a surprising cast. Sinestro's a big character, and it seems like he has a great resume with television roles. Maybe shocked with at that level they're not going with maybe a more recognizable, like bigger name on that. But I think that there's something to be said about casting TV people for TV series.
Absolutely.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think it's a very strong element to go in. Kyle Chandler, he's been in a movie here or there, but he's a really strong TV performer. And it's not to say they can't make that jump. He's done it plenty of times wonderfully. But people who know how that sort of system works, how the scheduling, how the filming works, I think having people already up to speed with that versus, having a huge actor, it's like, we got to get him in, we got to get him out. I think that it's going to have a lot more camaraderie on set because of that.
That's an excellent breakdown. I fully agree with you. I'm wondering how much is going to be mocap and how much is going to be makeup, personally. But can I run a little fan theory by you real quick before we go?
Hit me with it.
Do you think the murder they're investigating is Nathan Fillion's from Superman? Guy Gardner?
I don't know, because I feel like you can't do that in a way where... Like, do you think he would die in Superman and they're investigating that? Because I feel like that we would know as an audience probably how he died.
Well, it could be one of those things where, like, a post-credit scene is, like, someone finds the body. And then, the very cheesy, like, someone called the Lantern Corps, blah, 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 But, I don't know. It was just a fan theory. Maybe they're investigating his murder. Because clearly
I can see it. I feel
it's got to be a murder important to the Lanterns, so...
Perhaps the murder of Sinestro.
I so doubt it, but you never know. You never know.
No, I think that would make sense, especially if we start to see... You know how sometimes you see a role in a movie and you're like, I don't think there's really much more for... this element to it. It's sort of like Nathan Fillion's not going to be a big player in these projects, sort of a goofy Guy Gardner type thing. So I think that would make sense. Looks like we have a chat here from Ryan Santo.
A super chat. Hey,
thank you, Ryan, very much. That's very generous of you.
Thank you very much.
He asked, how do you think the costume design will be handled given the previous Green Lantern appearances? CGI, latex, Party City. Listen, Party City's going out of business. They might get some deals.
They got to save on those deals, baby.
I'm getting emails 75% off if Superman doesn't perform. I think it'll be a mix, personally. If they're going for a more grounded realism on that level, I really do see Hal Jordan just rocking like a brown coat.
Oh, yeah, the brown coat, Hal Jordan, for sure.
I see them sort of taking a more generic costume approach to that. But for the actual costume itself, when we're seeing them in full Lantern gear, I think latex, personally, just given the look at Superman and Supergirl, like it seems like they really are prioritizing all the costumes at that point.
Yeah, no, it'll be a practical costume, I think. I mean, there might be some CGI touch-ups, which would be fun, but definitely practical costume. And Ryan Santo, maybe if you're lucky, they sell a lot of Airheads at Party City. You can always buy Airheads. Nick, I feel like you can never get enough Airheads. Airheads are a good candy.
They are. I do like Airheads. Are we sponsored by Airheads?
No, it's an inside joke. I'll share with you later.
Okay.
But, guys, that was our episode today of the Roundtable. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and please leave your comments about the Sinestro story, what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.